Hello my soccer universe, for a review of the Europa League quarterfinals first leg, and unlike the other two European competitions, the Europa League is still wide open, and I think this is due to the fact that there are two Premier League teams in there that are very flawed, that keeps everything open, and you still would think the Athletic Club is probably the best team in the entire competition. Of course, the one team that has won yesterday is the one team that I do not have in the collection. Count me for now on the search for a Bodø jersey. They put Lazio really much on the back foot, and despite me being very much in the Serie A corner, I have to say I really enjoy watching Bodø. This is a hard battling side that actually plays some pretty ball as well. So yeah, would love to have a jersey of theirs. I know they don't come cheap. I'm still slightly hopeful to get it, maybe just below price, but yeah, the hopes are not that high. And having a Jens Peter Hauge jersey would also be quite nice because, former Milan player, I would love that. So I'll be on the lookout for that one, maybe in the next video, maybe for the semifinals. Bodø will most likely make it there. I don't see Lazio coming back from that one. And it adds a nice spark to Europe's second best competition, I gotta say as well. But before we put everything into more context, let's review yesterday's action. The conditions may not have been ideal. Yes, there was snow on the plastic pitch, and yes, there was a plastic pitch that also played into Bodø Glimt's hands. However, Lazio were not ready for the onslaught. This is a well-coached, well-playing team that you have to meet on level terms and not rely on your supposed superiority in quality, because that did not show. Bodø Glimt is a side that is bigger than the sum of their parts. And already in the first half, Bodø probably should have scored. There was a great chance by Jens Peter Hauge, formerly of Milan, that could have opened the scoring. Then there were some changes made by Baroni, bring on Dele Bashiru and Lazzari. However, it completely backfired because Blomberg assists Saltness to open the scoring the 47th minute already, fully deservedly so. Hauge assists to Saltness in the 69th is 2-0, lobbing it over the goalie. The Romagnoli can only save it behind the line. I don't know what happened to Lazio. They barely had any chance, maybe a little bit in the first half. In the second half, it was all Bodø, and they almost would have made it 3-0. However, it was saved by the goalie on the line that would have seen Glimt more or less through already to the next round. So it's a slim glimmer of hope for Lazio in the second leg. United got a credible 2-2 draw at Lyon, and arguably, if they would have had a world-class goalie, they might have won this one easily. Early chances fell to United. However, it is Lyon who take the lead through an Almada free kick that goes past everybody. It was more like a cross, and then Onana didn't look good letting it in. That rattled United for a little bit. Lyon had for a few minutes the upper hand. However, before the break, it was a free kick by United. Bruno Fernandes that Perry boxes out. It is brought back by Ugarte, and Yoro gets his head on to get the equalizer in the 5th minute of stoppage time. Second half, early chances maybe for Lyon. However, United were overall the better team and get the deserved goal again after Bruno Fernandes assists. It's Xerxes who has it in. He had just come on a little bit earlier after already Garnacho had missed a big chance. But it was not to be a win for United. It's again a shot by Mikodadze, poorly parried by Onana, that then Cherki taps home in a nice fashion to give Lyon the draw and some hope going to Old Trafford. Rangers left everything on the pitch at Ibrox Park to earn a goalless draw against Athletic Club in a game that on a different day they probably would have lost, and comfortably so, I would say. Things turned against Rangers already early on when Prepper was sent off for a last man offense against Iñaki Williams. It went to VAR. He was initially given as a yellow card. And Athletic Club then had the upper hand and probably had the better chances. However, there was already a pretty good one by Dessers in there as well. In the second half, I don't know how Rangers actually managed to hold on. There was also a bad scene where Rice had to be treated on the pitch for about 10 minutes, had to come off. Then it all seemed to finally turn into Athletic Club's favor, and Berenguer, who had just come on, taps it over the line. However, he was in offside position. Then there was the salvaging grace. There was a handball that honestly was a natural movement, to be honest, but yeah, the hand was stretched out. So the penalty was given from the same scene. It was rather curious. And it's Berenguer who steps up and goes down the middle. However, goalie Kelly left the foot in there and makes a save. And so it ends in a 0-0 draw. Rather curious. Probably the injuries and the long breaks also helped in there. But in the end, it goes all back to Bilbao. Athletic Club still dreaming of the final at home. And all to play for also between Spurs and Eintracht Frankfurt, who managed a 1-1 draw away at Spurs with a little bit of luck. Spurs, though, only have themselves to blame. They kept themselves susceptible on the counter-attack, especially in the first half, when Skiri intercepts deep in his own half, plays it out to Etiquette on the left side. He cuts in and unleashes a nice shot curled into the far corner. 6th minute, it's 1-0 Eintracht Frankfurt, playing in a rather weird orange jersey. However, then it was Spurs that took control of the game, created chances, and got the equalizer through a beautiful goal assisted by Madison, and then Porro backheels it into the far corner as well. It's 1-1 level on scores in the second half. Spurs twice hit the frame of the goal, had plenty of chances. Kawa Santos, that's the goalkeeper. They had one of the howlers of the Bundesliga season last season. Kept them very much in play, made some great saves, none bigger than in stoppage time, when it was a weird header by Van der Ven that was about to bounce into the upper corner of the goal, and he just gets it out with his hand. But there were a few great saves in there as well. Spurs will rue those missed chances. However, if I just look at XG, the chances were not all that great despite all that pressure, all to play for in Frankfurt next week. So if we look at the chances of advancing, we already see that, yes, Bodø have a huge advantage over Lazio, and it makes sense. I mean, if a 2-0 lead, you go to the Olympico, and I think you can get the job done, because Lazio is not that great and probably will focus more on the league, getting into the Champions League. I find it rather ridiculous, this concept, but hey, there you go. Athletic Club, of course, are also big favorites over Rangers at home. You would expect them to get the job done. How they did not win yesterday is also a little bit beyond me. And of course, the two duels of the Premier League sides are rather level. I mean, it starts already level. United should be the favorites over OL. Frankfurt at home to Spurs, I would give them a slight advantage, although Spurs did put a whole lot of pressure on Frankfurt in the first leg, but I can see that Frankfurt will move to another level once they play at their home stadium. And that matchup is also interesting, because the winner of that one will probably play against Bodø Glimt, so definitely can see this as being a match to watch. I also think that the prospect of Athletic Club against Manchester United is a rather interesting one. I think there are some old memories there as well, but this time it would be Athletic Club who would be seen as the favorites. However, I think United are the English team that I would think has the best chance of winning this Europa League. Speaking of which, let's look at the overall chances. And yes, they might be in a collision course, but it's Athletic Club ahead of United, and then it's Spurs and Frankfurt. Yeah, Bodø, because of their relatively low rating, are sitting only in 5th spot. However, they have the biggest chance to make it to the semi-finals. But facing Spurs or Eintracht, yeah, it's not an easy one. Although I can very well see Spurs wilting up north. So, everything to play for in the return legs, everything played at 9 o'clock, which will make for interesting watching. I'm quite certain that there will be a penalty shootout. I'm already fully prepared for that one. Fortunately, it's the Easter week, so I'll probably have a day off, so don't really have to work on the following Friday. But yeah, I think all 4 ties have intriguing storylines, all ties worth watching your time. If you have the chance, go watch the Europa League. I think this is the best competition we have this season in Europe. Maybe not for quality, but for suspense, definitely the best. So with that, let me ask you a couple of questions. Do you think Bodø will finish the job against Lazio? I think there's a pretty good chance for that. Who will win the Europa League? Will Athletic Club fulfill their dream of playing the final at home and winning that darn thing? Or will it be an English final? Or will an English club even make it to the final? Questions over questions. Please drop a line below, and we never should forget about Frankfurt because they have done it already twice before to be honest, in 1980 as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like these, and I will talk to you soon about more things in my soccer universe. Bye! Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, here are some videos and playlists that you may enjoy too. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the little bell icon so you get notified whenever something happens in my soccer universe. And with that, have a wonderful day. Bye!